Thank you so much, mentees, for coming in and joining in for the session. A huge thank you to Ajay for taking time out to doing this webinar in spite of the heavy rains in Jaipur. Before we start with the webinar, I'd like to thank the QFIS team. This webinar is in collaboration with QFIS, who arranges for amazing mentors like Ajay to come on board and deliver some amazing webinars to all the mentees of My Captain as well. So you can definitely check out their website, QFIS. So if you want to arrange for a one-to-one call, you can definitely do that as well. So Ajay, before we get started, I'd love you to introduce yourself. Tell us your educational background. What are you currently doing?
Sure. So, hey guys, my name is Ajay. I basically come from a civil engineering background. I did BTech in civil engineering. I gave a try for the CAT as well. Like I prepared for around 3 to 4 months, then I decided to quit. And from engineering, I entered into marketing. And currently, I'm working as a marketing specialist for Swiggy and handling the Rajasthan for them. So that's quite about me. I'm just 23-year old, so quite young in my career, and looking forward to see how things will form around and how Corona pandemic has changed the marketing as a domain and how the new marketing we will see in 2021.
Lovely. So tell us about your experience working at Swiggy. How has it been? What do you have to do? What are the roles and responsibilities?
So it's been 3 years, so there have been different phases I have handled. So I joined Swiggy around December 2018. So it's almost about to be 3 years, like 3 4 months of handling. So when I entered into Swiggy, it was just like an initial startup. They were just live in 10 to 11 cities, and they were expanding it to in the Jaipur. And I'm there from day one. Like I was the one who went down with the delivery boy and delivered the first order in the Jaipur. So that's how my journey started. In initial phase, I used to handle the restaurant branding. So basically, when a restaurant comes in and walks in into any kind of restaurant, or whenever the customer is coming down, how he can get an idea about the existence of Swiggy. Oh, there is something called a food delivery app where I can order from this particular restaurant. So this is what I used to handle by different marketing collateral, by different ideas, and working with the restaurant partners. And then I moved more into the app-based marketing. So in app-based marketing, we more of talked about merchandising, what kind of communication you can see in the app, what are the discounts available for you guys, what kind of different posters in their app which are communicating. For example, we had a property like weekend combos you can enjoy. So these kind of strategies I used to form, that what we can offer it to the users. Then currently, like in the current year, which I'm handling from almost more than a year, it's basically data driven market. So I work on numbers. You can say more of a BA, business analyst position. I like, for example, if you are the person you are ordering 5 times from the Swiggy, how to make it 7. I look into your profile. What do you order most? What do you like most? What kind of food you will like to order? What kind of discounts you would like to see? From which restaurant do you order? So on these funnels, I usually work. Then we find out a perfect way for the customers to come in the app, and then nurture the customer and get more order, as much transaction the person can do on the app. So that's basically how it's all about what I do in this week.
That sounds very interesting. And I think I'd like to say, because a lot of our mentees, we have 56 participants, and all of them are from different backgrounds. Some of them engineering,
Okay.
some of them BCom, some of them MBA. And I like that you have done civil engineering, but you still managed to shift into, venturing out to what you really would like to do. And that sounds like a very interesting job role. So can you tell us how to shift, or for anybody who's aspiring to move into this particular domain?
See, first of all, I just want to clear one message that it's not going to be easy to shift it. So when I wanted to shift, I think I gave around 53 to 54 interviews and I was rejected because no one was buying the point that I have a civil engineering on my resume and I'm applying for the marketing job. Then I reached out to the one senior. He was the state head in the Zoom car, and I explained him the entire issue. I was 19-year-old at that time, so I was also not have much clarity like how to go about it. So he told Ajay, if you don't have a skill set, and apart from skill set, if you don't have anything to put it on the resume right now, because skill set you can only communicate when you get the interview. But what do you have right now for a recruiter to select you even? So then I was like, what to do? Then he said, I might have something offer for you. So I started working for the Zoom Club. I worked in free for around a month. I said, I just want to go and gain the skill set. So I worked for 1 month. Then these guys saw my work and they started paying it. So that's how the journey started. When I started, I was not even sure that whether I will get paid, because the entire idea about that job was to get skill sets from the and get something from the marketing, because whatever we see in the courses, in the books or wherever, whatever do we learn, it's somewhere down when it comes to the execution, things changes. You have to take the decisions on the ground, which are not there in the books. Books can teach you how to do marketing, but they can't teach you how to take decision at that particular point. That is something your thing which you have to figure it out. So that's how it works. Then from marketing, when I completed my degree, I shifted to the FlipLearn, if you have seen it. So FlipLearn was more of an education-based company. So I think I'm not sure how many mentees have those smart boards in their classes.
Yes, yes.
So it was a company, but what the idea was to bring that smartphone in the app. So there was an app called FlipLearn. Nowadays we have Byju's, we have Unacademy, there are different courses. But in 2017, the distance learning was not that popular. But I started into journey. I worked for them for around 7 months in the Jaipur only. So I used to work with the schools, go out with the school, educate teachers. Because the most important thing was in 2017, if you want to sell something to a student, teachers should be the medium, because nowadays many companies proved it wrong, like a Byju's. Like if even a good employee can sell a good product to the parents, but in 2017 it was not so popular kind of medium. So we used to work with the teachers to figure out how we can promote distance learning, how teachers can adopt the method. Because if I'm selling it to the parents and if teacher is saying, no, I can teach it much better way, then how to balance both the things. Like class is also important, how the video sessions, how the theoretical and practical knowledge is important. So I used to go in the colleges, deliver seminars for teachers, for students in the parent teachers meeting, go and explain it to the parents how this app works, how you can take the content, how you can pay your fees, order the books and everything. And from there, I shifted to Swiggy when they started expanding into the Japan. So that's how my
That's
career has been, and I hope like I'll stay longer with the Swiggy, and maybe many more opportunities will come in the future.
That's very interesting. I like that you started your journey with understanding, okay, let me experiment with this. Let me see if this is some domain that I want to
Exactly.
move into from a marketing intern to, wherever. So you worked at, Flip Learn Education, you worked at Zoom Card with different kinds of roles and responsibilities specifically to marketing,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So
Okay.
there's different. Like for example, you're speaking something.
Yes, no, go ahead.
Yeah. So in Zoomcar, it's more of about creating a brand presence, because car rental was still a new business. In when it comes to FlipLearn, the people had an idea in the school, the smart board and all these things exist, but how to change the medium, because from desktop to the mobile phone, the entire generation was changing. For example, there have been few companies who even shut down their website and entirely converted everything into the app. There were a lot of big e-commerce like this. So entire like in 2017, we were having the revolution of the startups when people were changing it to the apps. Everyone was coming into the app. So from Zoom car to car rental to the education and now to food delivery. I'm not sure how it's going to be in the fourth organization, but these three have been a good experience till now.
That's brilliant. So a lot of our students come from, marketing backgrounds or digital marketing, and they want to know what skills are important in the industry today. So can you tell us what kind of skills should students be, working on and developing?
See, I'm not going to just talk about today, because, for example, a few skill set which made sense in 2016, 2017 doesn't make sense at all in 2020. Like it's a very good example of Nokia. They were not able to change themselves and they get killed in this market. So it's about the adoption you have day by day and how you improve. So I think how the future is going ahead, like there have been a lot of debates. If you see on the LinkedIn, will the print media die? Will there be any kind of BTL marketing or ATL marketing, since the kind of when the digital marketing came into the picture and the kind of ROI and the tracking mechanism they provided us, because where my money is going? Being very honest, I'm on the side where I literally feel that print media will die in the coming 4 to 5 years. So if you want to get into the marketing and you want to learn and have the right skill sets, then the digital marketing is the thing. Now, digital marketing is very big. Like digital marketing is not just about the content graphics, it's more about the data. For example, you can't run a Facebook ad if you don't have a good control on the data. Doesn't matter how good is your graphic, how good is your content. you still need to understand your consumer. What is their spending power, how much they can spend, when they are most likely to order, what they are most likely to order. All these things. So I believe in the next coming years, the content is going to be what kind of the way you present your idea. And the second thing is how in what form do you present the idea. So data skills, like data scientist, HTML, whatever the software you use to like good command, even on Excel. Like in a marketing profile, if you go for interview right now, the recruiter first thing asks, what kind of skill set do you have in Excel? Is it learning? Is it beginner? Is it advanced? You need to have a good command there as well. Then you need to have just with the data, you can't do anything. You have to be that creative thinking attitude where you can form that data into something which you can sell it to the person. For example, if I reach out to you, hey, you have ordered these 10 things in the last 5 months. Would you like to try more? You feel like, okay, this person cares about me, has done a
Yeah.
good research on me, that, okay, I have whatever I have tried in the last month, he knows it already, and then he is offering me something. You go with the creative idea without a backing of numbers, it doesn't work. You go with the numbers without having a creative idea, it won't work. So it will be a combination of good content plus numbers. That's how the new marketing industry will look like in the coming years.
Very, very true. What kind of projects or competitions? So now the first thing that recruiters look at is like your resume, and they want to know what kind of projects you have done, what kind of internships you have done. So, what kind of projects or campaigns or competitions should students be working on to build their resumes? And is that important?
See, there are two ways to see it. For example, there's no specific project you can do, and by doing that project, you will get a job for sure. Sure. It's about going and trying the things. For example, I did a Zoom call without having an idea whether I want to get into the marketing or not. I just wanted to give a try and it paid off. So I think that's how the people should look at when they are at 19, 20, or 21, that you go and try those stuff. At least, even if it's not clear that this is what you want to do, but one thing will become clear to you that this is not something for me. And from there, the picture changes because when example, if I'm recruiting someone and even if someone is talking about their failure that I tried this, but it didn't work out, but it taught me something like this, it creates a positive impact in the interviewer mind. And the same thing you can mention into your resume. I believe there is no harm in mentioning your failure on the resume because you learned something out of it.
Definitely, definitely. What do they expect of you for an interview? So, specifically looking at marketing, what do recruiters look for in an interview?
See, it depends on like in marketing is again at a very big domain. What kind of profile you are looking for. For example, if you're applying for offline media, you need to handle a lot of vendors. So they look into how you are managing in terms of stakeholders. How do you look at the people? How do you manage with the people? When company is not paying on the time to vendors, how do you deal with the fund? So more of a people management and the event management. For example, you are more into the graphic and content, then your creative skills are being tested more. What is your thinking ability? What kind of things you can like by seeing something, how you can convert this into a very creative communication. When you are more into the digital marketing, they more give a like more weightage to the data skills, how you are into data, how you are going to track a Facebook ad. What do you learn if the money is gone? What kind of ROI you are getting? Is it better from the ads when someone other brand is running or what you are running? So it depends on like as I already told you, marketing is a very big domain. It depends on what kind of roles you are applying, and you should always have a customized CV for every job if you want to give a serious try, because that will help you to have an understanding of each role, because every role needs a different kind of skill set even within the marketing and different kind of mindset to go with it. For example, even if you don't have a skill set but you have a mindset to learn, you can land into that job and then even learn. When I landed in the Swiggy, I had less idea about marketing, but I learned within the job. So that's how it works.
Lovely. So, as you mentioned, like marketing is a very huge umbrella. There's digital marketing, there's other kinds of marketing. So, when students, probably do BBA or MBA, they want to know what kind of different opportunities open up for them in the marketing field and what do you actually have to do in these roles. So, could you throw a little bit of light on that?
See, I believe there is no relation between your degree and the opportunity. Like obviously having an MBA from a tier 1 institute gives you the push, because what happens in these 2 years, you get to learn a lot of things. So eventually it gives you an additional advantage. But you should not restrict yourself that I have done a MBA or I have done a BBA, so I can't get into this. I entered from engineering to here. So the market is open. Even when recruiters have a limitation, if you reach out to them and show them that this is the work I have done, even after having this degree, they actually give, because times are changing. People are giving. When I was recruited in the Swiggy, I still have bags in the engineering. I completed when I was working within the Swiggy. So people give more weightage nowadays to skills. What kind of skills do you have? What value you can add into the role, and how you can solve the consumer pain. For example, if a consumer is having pain, what kind of value you will bring so that the pain can be turned into a beautiful experience. So any kind of degree should not restrict you to any kind of role.
Okay, so within the Swiggy team, so now you're a marketing specialist. What other domains are also opened up in marketing, especially?
See, in marketing in Swiggy, there are different. For example, media buying is one domain, digital marketing is one domain. I mainly work on app marketing at the city level. So app marketing is one thing, like how good you are sending the notifications you get in your app, like order this discount. All these are the part of marketing team. How good you are in those things, what kind of communication you think a person can get without even spending on the SMSs, because the person already have the app, you can just send a notification. This is just one idea someone thought, and it became one of the biggest marketing tool these apps have. So these kind of things you need to keep evolving. Like you go with something, create a new role in the any organization, and they will love to hire you because you are going there. So, like for example, if you go into 2013, 14, the message cost were one of the biggest pain for the brands. They have to send the bulk SMS for the users to make them aware about their product and their offering. Apps came into the picture, people start sending the notifications, and they save 10 paisa or 20 paisa per SMS. And it was one of the best invention by doing a simple hack. So these are the things, like there are too many domains which you can explore. It's up to you how much you are willing to try.
Very interesting. So, can you tell us any tools or softwares you use by the industry or that you use on a regular basis?
See, I will go by the courses. I think because tools will have so you can't use tools until unless you have a database. So go with the course. Like for example, if you go on an academy, there are unlimited number of courses which will help you to learn the basics. So if you took my personal perspective, a course can help you to learn basic. You will get an idea, but when you put things into the practical application, you will come up with the new things. Okay, this is also a problem which can come, which was not talked about in the course. And then you get into the troubleshooting zone and you figure out the answer by yourself, and the things becomes clear. So my first preference is go on an academy. You will find good courses. Upgrade is giving some good courses about marketing. And there is a guy, if I don't know how many of you follow, Vaibhav. Vaibhav is the guy on the LinkedIn. He talks about the content on the LinkedIn marketing. Try out his courses. He gives like a very good feedback and the feature. Like even he goes for the one-on-one calls and give you feedback how you can work on the content marketing. So then, like you need a good research. Spend an hour in the good research, and you will find more than 100 good courses on the good marketing and how you can like work upon on your skill set and for the organization where you can add value to.
Okay. So, how would you suggest looking for internships or job opportunities, be it at Swiggy or any other organization? So, a lot of students they want to, get internships after doing different courses or certifications. So, what would you suggest that platforms they can probably use, or how do they approach and get these internships?
See, platform you have LinkedIn, you have Internshala, but don't go like a job hunting. Go with a passive approach recruiter, tell them about you. And when it comes about the companies, I would personally suggest don't go with big startups, don't go with big MNCs because they put you on a fixed process. Their processes are already designed. They will tell you that this is what need to be done from 9 to 6. When you enter into a smaller company, they don't have a process. So you have a freedom to explore things. You have a freedom to design the process, so you learn more. So whenever people ask where should I do internship, I'm getting a 10,000 offer from a big MNC. yes, money is a priority, but I believe at 19, 20, 21, skill set should be a bigger priority as compared to a bigger brand. So go with the smaller companies, learn new skill set. You will land a good job in a bigger company. But if you go with a bigger company, or they might offer you a job, but your learning will be limited because they already, it's not their problem because they have a fixed process. They have been working on this process from 10 years. They don't want you to come for 3 months and change the process. While with a smaller company, you go, you design the process, you help them understand if this is also can be done.
Okay, all right. So, as you mentioned, I think in Zoomcar, you worked on sales and operations, and even when you initially
Yes.
moved into Swiggy. So, how important is like? Can you tell us about the job role of sales and operations in the marketing sector? What exactly is required for people to do, and is it important to start off with that in a marketing career?
See, I won't say it's important to start. You can give a try into anything, but the importance is always there. There's a very simple rule of supply and demand. If your demand is high, supply low is won't work. Like in Swiggy, it's very simple. The operations is our delivery voice. The growth is the number of orders. If both things are not matching, we won't be able to serve. If there are less number of delivery boys, there are more number of orders, we won't be able to deliver the order. The consumer won't order it from the next time. It's a bad marketing because the word to word reference is the biggest form of marketing, irrespective of whatever you are doing. Same if you have highest number of delivery boys, you have to pay them money and you don't have orders. So there should be a balance. Why you should have a knowledge about operations? Because when you are telling me that I'm doing this kind of marketing and I will bring 100 transactions to this app, you should have the operation capability to deliver those 100 transactions. Because if you are delivering only 30, the 17 consumers will act as a bad marketing references for you. They will go out in the market, talks about the thing that this is not the company which you should. And now considering CX is a part of marketing only, so you cannot hamper the consumer experience. So you should always have an idea about the things happening around you, be it sales, be it operation, even if you are in the marketing, because it's a every business is a game of supply and chain. So you can't just ignore one function.
Makes sense. All right. Lovely. So I think that was most of the questions that I had from my end related to marketing. A couple of mentees have asked a lot of interesting questions, so I think we'll just look into those.
Sure.
All right. Lovely. So somebody's asking, does marketing mostly insist on accomplishing monthly targets?
Okay, so I think there's a very thin line between sales and marketing. It depends upon the organization to organization. So growth is mainly what I call it as a marketing. So marketing is more of about the brand building, letting users know that there is something like this exist. And sometimes it depends upon doing the first transactions as well, that you bring the person on the app, the person makes the transaction. For example, I will give you a very simple example of Swiggy because I'm working there. I can bring the customer on the app, but whether that person is going to place an order or not, it depends upon what kind of what kind of customers, sorry, what kind of restaurants I have on the app, what kind of discounts I have. So marketing, obviously, there is a fine line between the targets and everything. But yes, you can have the targets, but the end result does not only depend upon the marketing. You can bring people on the app. So you can have a target around that I can get 100 people on the app, but you cannot have a target that 100 people will do a transaction, because for that your product also need to be strong. Your operation need to be strong. Your sales need to be strong.
Okay. So somebody also wants to know how to start digital marketing to build a brand and how to target a niche market.
What do they mean by niche marketing?
Right. Aman, if you could probably explain more about it. Okay. Till then, we'll come, I think, to the next one. So,
Sure.
Mohammed is asking, what kind of data would be collected from customers in Swiggy, and how would you collect them?
So in when we talk about in our app, we have almost everything. Like when customer is creating a profile, we just take the numbers, but then we get the knowledge. For example, the number of items you are ordering, we have a data about them. When you are ordering, we know the times about you. What is a preference? Like I like to order in the lunch, so he knows about it.
Whenever Swiggy wants to send any kind of communication to me, they will send in the lunch time, because they know I'm the most like my probability of ordering in the lunch is much higher. So these are the simple metrics. So this is usually a work of a data scientist plus app development. The collaboration I talked about, sales operation, now the tech teams comes in the picture. Your tech team should have those like a levels in the app. Whenever for example, any session is taking place, they should be able to record it. Even if I'm going away from the app, they should have an idea that the Ajay came on the app but still didn't order. How to fulfill his demand, why he didn't order, how we can make some changes in the app. Like there was a very simple change in the design we did. A lot of users used to place order on their last address, because sometimes GPS is working, internet is slow. The last order they placed on the same address, in hurry they placed it on the same address. We did a small change. If you see, there is a very big pop-up now that you are ordering at this address. This we came
Yeah.
to know from the percentage of customer doing this mistake. So this was just a random data we collected by our internal teams, and we came out with the solutions. So again, this has a very huge range. You can keep looking where is the problem, what is contributing, and how these numbers and data can help you to resolve that issue.
Very interesting. Very, I have noticed that change, and I think I'll have to constantly be on the ideation, like get, like how you said, CX,
Exactly.
get to know what the users are finding difficulties in and making changes. So I think it's a very, very interesting job role you're working in. Manchika is also asking, I'm currently working as a software engineer for over 2 years now. When I look out for internships, recruiters ask for my portfolio. How do I bag an internship, I think, in the marketing sector without any prior knowledge or experience in the field?
I think if recruiters are asking for portfolio, I think she must be applying into more of the creative side. What kind of work I have done. So I would suggest, like there are a lot of people, for example, social media dissect, mad over marketing. There you will see a lot of creators are creating content for brands in free, and they just post out on their Instagram. So this is something Swiggy could have done. So you keep creating content for your brand. So whenever the recruiter asks for your portfolio, share those creatives for you. Those are not like brand didn't ask you to create, but this is your creativity. This is what you can do. And you can show this to the recruiters that this is what is my level. This is how I think. This is how I create. So that they will get an idea whether this person fits into my organization or not. If you don't have
Okay.
a portfolio, you don't have someone to pay for that portfolio. Any company is not asking for you to go and create yours, create your own content.
Okay. So she also wants to know how to build your resume, like build your whole marketing profile on your resume for a complete beginner.
See, that's, I would suggest go with the application specific. Figure out that these are the 10 applications where I want to apply as a applicant, and then build it up. For example, there's a position of a user acquisition. Now figure out what all is needed in the process of acquiring a user. There's a part of knowledge, then there's a part of what your company has to offer. Everything, just collect the little information that why this person will come on the app. You will get these are the 10 things. Now for these 10 things, what all you have to do, then you need to go and talk about those 4 or 5 things in your resume, that this is what I can do, this is what I have done, this is how I relate this user acquisition. So always your resume should be application specific. I believe in this something that you can't work with a common resume for 100 applications, because all of them have a different kind of offering, and you're also making an offer to that company that this is what I comes with, these are my skill sets. You go and pitch it to them.
Okay. So somebody's asking, does CGPA matter?
Not for me, it never mattered to me. Like I believe 10th and 12th results are not, like no one is ever going to see. I entered from civil engineering to marketing, so even my civil engineering degree didn't matter. Sometimes in some premium organization it does matter, but I'm not sure what is the percentage of that organization, because nowadays how I see the situations, people talk about skill set, people talk about experience, what do you bring as a value into the organization, not about your marks. I think those times are over. So good for us.
Yeah, I know that that's great, especially with the whole new education policy as well. A lot of changes are happening.
Exactly.
So Gayatri is also asking, if I'm already working in an MNC in sales and operations, how do I move into digital marketing and what type of job would I be offered later? So for anybody who
See,
wants to do the
first thing is,
operations and sales.
got it. So my point is learn the basics of digital marketing. Try out some of your own product. Give and try how it is working out. Learn about the failures. For example, if you are going, like if you want to get into digital marketing, there from day one you need to deliver the results. So why not try out those results on your internal platforms? Why not make those mistakes on yourself? So you will reach out to a friend who is having a business, tell him that how I can help you. Like there is a friend of mine who does painting. Now one of her friend approached her that can I handle your Instagram page because I'm learning digital marketing. I want to see can I generate sales for your painting from my ads. Now that person is handling her Instagram page and trying out all the random stuff she or he can do, which eventually tells you what will work, what will not work. And then you can go and talk about these things in the interview as well. So the person who's taking your interview also has an idea. Okay, this person knows. Even the results didn't came out, but this person tries something and he knows the basics of digital marketing. That will help you to reach out to the destination you want to reach. Like taking courses and everything is fine, but you need to go and implement it. Then only you will learn the basic stuff, the problems, because on courses everything talks about these are the problems, these are the solutions, but you don't know what happens if the problems are out of that list. That thing comes with when you are implementing things by yourself.
That is very true, very true. I see a lot of very interesting questions popping up. How Swiggy uses its marketing mix to enhance its marketing. Brief about marketing mix in companies generally.
Can you just repeat? Your voice was not clear.
Yeah. So, how does Swiggy use its marketing mix to enhance its marketing strategy? Can you give us a brief about marketing mix in company?
Marketing mix.
Yes.
Okay, so see, it depends. For example, it always depends on the user. You have a particular users which can be reached out by a different things, right? You have a, like for example, there is a user who can only spend 100 rupees. You have a different proposition, different kind of channels to reach out to that customer. So they have that entire marketing mix, the circle and everything, like price and everything, you have it. You divide entire users into that circle. So this is the user I can approach by this medium. Like there is a premium app in the Mumbai Scootsie, which was only for the premium customers of Mumbai. Swiggy bought that in like 2018, and those was just for the premium customers. So always you need to categorize your users. This person hasn't transacted from 60 days. This person hasn't placed order from 30 days. Always divide your users so that you have a different approach for all of them. You can't have the same approach for the person who is making 20 orders in a day and then 1 orders in a day. Divided it, then you will reach out to the right place and you will be able to decide how, what kind of channel, what kind of price, whatever I have to offer, it should be different for my each user bucket.
Very interesting. So, somebody's also asking how to acquire a competitor's customer.
That's a very interesting question. Just be best in the service. Competition can give a better discount when the both person are offering the same thing. How, see, it's very simple rule. The loyalty comes with the experience. What kind of experience and the value you are adding to that consumer, how much extra mile you are traveling for that consumer. The day consumer feels that your brand is doing, like taking one step extra for that, for her or his pain, they will be loyal to you. You can acquire the customer, but they will run away if you're not adding value to their life, if you're not going an extra mile for them. Just change that and they will be loyal to you for forever.
Very interesting. So, to add on to that question, somebody's also asking, how do you deal with the competition while taking any marketing decision? Do any changes in the competitor's app affect your decision?
See, it always do. For example, if a competitor is offering a bigger discount, the users will go in that side. they made like, for example, UE experience. We talked about how your app looks like and everything. These things also matters. How easy is it for me to use these apps? So you need to keep evolving on this. If competition is having something better, learn from them. Like, this is something they are doing it best. How we can make it better, even not better, how we can make it equal. Like, I'm not going to talk about the Swiggy's competition and how we do those things, because those are the confidential things. But I'm just giving you a brief view. Learn it from them. Understand why if consumer are preferring them, reach out to the consumer. Why do they like competition? What is wrong in your app? How you can improve it? It's just about taking the learnings from the competition, but then making it something better out of it, much better than the competition.
Okay. So somebody's also asking, during pandemic, sales are at their lowest level. How do you see sales as a segment of marketing during the pandemic?
See, pandemic has affected everyone. For example, it's a very simple economy cycle. I used to get, like, I'm not telling my salary, I'm just giving an example. If I'm getting a 1 lakh per month, if my salary is deducted by 20%, I have 80,000. I will put less money in the market. And how the entire sales function works. Less money is coming, the next person will spend less, then the next person will spend less. The times are getting better. Even in the pandemic, there have been few business which came out as a surprise and did really well. See and figure out what they have done it differently, which other companies was not able to do it, how they were able to adapt. For example, if people were not delivering at home, they were not able to survive. This was one of the technique people adapted, and the sales went up. Your nearby kirana shops, people even started offering that I will come to your place and drop the food at your place. This was just one adaptation. They did it to increase their sales. So it's just like the example I mentioned with the Nokia. With the times are changing, things are becoming difficult. How do you change your business model according to that? If you want that I can run the same business model in this pandemic as well, you won't be able to survive it. You need to improve it with the time, and then things will get better as per your demand, as per what user wants to buy it from you.
Very true. I think it is very well said. So Soumya is also asking two questions. Which are the profiles for marketing students in the banking sector? Do you have any idea about that?
See, in banking sector, banking mainly works on the retail marketing, BTL marketing. Like, they do a digital part a lot, but there is a very good chunk of the audience who visits banks very frequently, and that is mainly your parents, 40 above. They are not doing digital transaction. So there are two kind of audience in the banking sector. First, who is more app friendly, is more comfortable with the UPI and net banking. Those users are targeted by digital marketing, so all your digital marketing comes, like, that becomes one profile. Then you have a customer set, which is, I believe, is still bit very higher in India. The people who visit banks for very small thing, even to take out their pension. That's where your BTL and the retailer marketing comes in. There is a guy standing outside explaining the things. So for example, in the new generation, new products, maybe the print media will die, but in a sectors like FMCG, banking, the print media is going to stay longer, because the audience still need to be educated in those fields, and they still need to improve. And banking is something every single person is using it. You can't survive without a bank service. So there is a very good audience. A rural audience will also going to come. Right now, the Facebook has a very highest penetration in India, but still some part is left, and that's where your newspaper ads, your pamphlets, all these things comes in the picture. So in banking, it's still safe to say you have digital marketing profiles, offline, retail, BTL marketing profiles.
Okay. So I still see a couple of students asking questions related to explain more opportunities in the marketing sector and like what profiles open up for them.
See, in the new generation, you have a lot of position in the data, because marketing needs backing. Then now people are moving into the digital part. So you have too many openings about the graphic designing, content marketing. So these openings has gone up. There is a shortage of job in the offline marketing for sure, because the industry is shrinking. But then you have a 10x growth in the digital marketing. HTML skills. There are a lot of tools coming in the picture. Like, even to run a Facebook ad, there are a lot of tools. There are sales forces. You go and HubSpot is one of the tool. You have a very good skill set on the HubSpot. A lot of companies are ready to hire. So go do a good research. Try to understand the software which are used on a daily to daily basis. A very simple example of Power BI. I'm not sure how many people know it. It's a data tool by Microsoft. A lot of marketing people are using the Power BI. Basically, it's a data display for the marketing people. Have a good skill set on that. It eventually tells you that you can do much better visualization of data. So you need to explore, see what all new things are getting created, how industry is moving. If on one side the jobs are shrinking, on the another side you will see a 20x or 10x job in the new openings. Like I was seeing a new job called brand monetization, and I was like, okay, like something new. It was one of the delivery startups only, and then I came to know that one of the FMCG brand was getting delivered their product through those delivery boys when they were delivering the orders. This was something never you could have thought of it 2 years ago. But someone came up with this idea and the position was created for the same. So that's how it works.
Very true. Can you repeat the name of the tool that you had mentioned by Microsoft?
Power BI.
Power VM. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Lovely. So somebody's asking a very specific data-driven question. I think you'd be, because you're in that sector, you'll also be able to help. So usually some customers say that the price is too much, the price is too high, or the price is too low. So you want to know how do you all deal, with these kind of customers and how to learn data-driven marketing and make decisions.
See, if you have data, I think it will be easier to make decisions because everything will in the front of you. When you come about the pricing, like is it too high, is it too low? So what I believe is always go with the small. For example, you want to launch a product for 10,000 people, go and try it with a controlled group. What do I mean by a controlled group? Go and try with the 100 people. 100 people will give you a feedback that this is too high, this is too low, this is perfect. You get a better idea. This is how my consumers are reacting to my product. Then you go and launch it to a bigger audience. What happens in this process, even if it doesn't work for the bigger audience, but you still have a feedback from the consumers, so it will at least make a sense for 50% of audience. When it makes for the 50% of audience, you can scale it to the 70%, you can scale it to the 100%. What if you go with the fixed pricing and pitch it to the 100%, it won't work. So you need to go slowly, try it on a controlled group, try it on a controlled city. Like I can experiment something in this city, figure out what all is working, what all is not working, and then I can expand it to 10 other cities. That's how you should be deciding the prices.
Okay. So Venkat is also asking an interesting question. Can you explain once again about how we crack the marketing job with a decent pay for a B Tech or a different background student?
It's very simple. Figure out a good opportunity. Go on LinkedIn, check how people are hiring. Look for the small paying job, but where you can learn the skill set. Like there can be companies who are paying good as well, but figure out the job, figure out the companies who are smaller. They are ready to let you explore because you are from a different background. You don't have a skill set. So it's very important for you to not go on a fixed process. It's important for you to go and explore out the things which will eventually help you to gain new skill sets. So look for the smaller companies, figure out the JD, talk with the recruiter and interviewer, find out what all you need to do in a very detailed view and then go for it. It will eventually help you because you will get the right skill set from it.
Okay. And is this the same for Swiggy as well?
See, it works everywhere. I think even a smaller startup, bigger startup, this logic always works.
Okay. So somebody's saying, tell us your experience and learnings in Swiggy, your biggest failure and how you tackled it.
I think there's no failure because whenever you are failing, you're learning something out of it. Like you made a blunder, but you learned it how to not to make this blunder again. So there are no failure. I think the biggest learning into for me has been in the Swiggy thing, how to make your decision not on your emotional side or not on your guts. Like a lot of people say that this is what I feel should work. My perspective has changed completely in Swiggy. I believe this is what numbers are saying, and I will go with the numbers, not with my guts. Because when someone will come, what was the reason behind it? I said, this is what it looks like, and that's why I did it, even if I'm failing. I think this has been the biggest learning, how I take decisions. And those decisions are now impacting my personal life as well. I take very calculative decisions in my life by seeing how it will impact me instead of taking those emotional and guts decisions.
Okay. So somebody's also asking, I think they had a gap year during their studying period. So if anybody has a gap year, maybe 1 year or more than 3 years, how can they address that gap year in their resumes or in the interview?
See, go with the new courses, make people understand that there was a important reason why you took a gap, and these are the new things you learn those gaps. For example, there was a family problem at my home, and I had to take a gap. There was no chance, but I utilized that time into something new. I'm not saying you used it at that time, but you learn something in a quicker period and make it feel to the recruiter, okay, this is something I have learned in those 3 years as well. When there was a gap, I was not just sitting at the home and chilling. I was also learning, even when I was not able to commit to the whatever the work or the job or the studies I have, but I was still trying to do and figure out the things, which will make the recruiter also feel that even when you are free, you are trying to figure out the things and learning something out of it, which makes them feel okay, even if we don't have something at the office to give it to him, he will still figure out something on his own to do it, which eventually just changes the. It's a psychological game which you can just play it very simply. But for that, you need to have something to show it to them. This is something I learned in those times, in those difficult times, especially.
Okay. So somebody's also asking, what are the three top skills, go-to skills that are essential in the coming years, and what are your insights on emotional intelligence?
See, emotional intelligence is something I don't have a good skill set. So even I'm not the person who comes with a good emotional intelligence. So I'm going to skip that part. Not going to talk about it. What was the another part of this question?
Top three go-to skills that are essential in the coming years.
In the current market, you mean, right?
Yes. Sorry, there is a
Your
background noise.
voice is breaking.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, so they're just
Yeah,
asking top
you're
three
audible now.
skills that are
See, I
essential
think
in the
in the
coming
current
years.
market,
I think decision making skills is one of the skills which you needed. Like you can't survive without that in the current market.
instant reaction, which is, I believe, like in any kind of job you are, there's a very thin line between your reaction and a response. If you are reacting to the any situation, if you are responding to the any situation, it makes a hell lot of difference, even in the personal life, in the professional life. And I third believe is the calculations behind everything. The logics. I don't believe in emotions. I always believe you should always have a logic behind everything. So how you are calculating things in your mind, how you are taking decisions based on them. These are the three things I believe if you have it, it will help you to take right decisions in personal life, in professional life, and will help you to reach out to the right place.
Okay. So somebody's also asking, I think because there are a lot of people, a lot of competition for themselves in the industry. So we have students from the different marketing backgrounds. And when a huge number of people are getting into the field, it becomes tougher and anxious for other people to be like, okay, how do I stand out from everybody else? So do you have any suggestions for the mentees on how they can improve themselves and stand out from the other competition in the market?
See, people are going to follow one patterns. There will be 20 applications which a person is getting. The only thing is, how do you make it different? There is an idea. It's a very simple rule. If 10 people are agreeing to one thing, it's not necessary to agree to the same thing. If I'm reading the 10 CV, what is something you have done it differently? If people are talking about this is how we can do, if a CV comes to me, this is how I have done it. It entirely changes the picture and takes you out of that group and makes you feel special. So I believe instead of planning, there should always be action. If 100 people are applying, I believe 90 will tell that this is how I will do this job. This is how I will handle it. This is how I will make your revenues go 10x. But if you are going and telling them this is how I have done it and this is how I can do it, it will separate you from the crowd and makes you a very different person in front of interviewer and the recruiter as well, which will give you additional advantage. So always, like, there should be always an action instead of a word.
Makes sense. So Manasa is also asking, would you suggest any courses or workshops that could help them build their resume for a marketing position specifically?
Go on an academy, just type digital marketing, you will get a lot of courses. Like, I'm not specifying a single courses because I'm not here to promote a particular course, but on an academy you have good courses which will eventually help you to gain the right skill sets which you need.
Okay, so a couple of students are asking something very specific to Swiggy. So if you can share it, do let us know. So they want to know, can you tell
Sure.
us about, sorry, one second. Can you tell us about your Swiggy? Can you tell us about Swiggy's target segmentation, positioning strategies, and how you implemented it?
See, these are the things which I believe I can't share it,
Okay.
being the confidential thing, but it's always about, as I mentioned, the users bifurcation. You divide your users into different category. That this is how I can approach to this person, this is how I can approach to this person, and this is how I can make that person to transact on the app. And you use a different approach and make that person feel special and bring that person on the app.
Okay.
And it
So
will eventually change everything for you.
no worries. So I think Manas is also asking, can you give an approach to people who want to apply for internships at Swiggy? How do they apply for internships or job opportunities specifically at Swiggy?
See, go on careers page, you will get all the opportunities. If you have any opportunity, you have seen it on LinkedIn, reach out to me. I will write a reference. But the only thing is, before you apply, go read the job description, take it, design the CV according to that, and see what company is expecting out of you, and then how you can add your value to the company, which will eventually change the game. Reach out to me. I'm available on the LinkedIn, and then I can write a reference for you.
Lovely. I think there's a very, very insightful webinar. Thank you so much, Ajay, for taking time out, and it was very informative. And I think you shared a lot of your experiences on how mentees can also build their profiles as well. It was absolutely interesting, even for me. So thank you so much, Ajay. Thank you for taking time out. Before we wrap up, do you have a couple of last words for the mentees?
I think it was great session. Like, there were a few questions which even challenged me. I was not prepared to answer it. And that's what I said. Just throw it yourself and you will learn into the situation when you are there. That's just one line I have to say. Like, even if you don't know, just get into it. You will come with something out of it. It won't just go in the waste. And thank you
Lovely.
so much for hosting this webinar. Like, it was great meeting and talking to all of you.
Yes, thank you so much, Ajay. Mentees, we really hope you enjoyed the webinar and got a lot of
Definitely.
value
I
out
would
of
love to come back here.
Yes, definitely. We'd love to have you on board as well. We've dropped in a feedback form, so if you all can, fill up how did you like the webinar, what other topics you would also like. We'd love to know what kind of webinars you all would be interested in. A huge thank you, Ajay, and a very huge thank you to the QFIS team as well. Thank you for bringing amazing mentors like Ajay on board. So stay safe and take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.